जी की श्रीला प्रभुपाद की समावेत भक्त वृंद की श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Yesterday we were discussing about the Gita's one very important aspect of Gita is transmigration and the law of karma, catching the fish without getting wet. We did yesterday. Today we will answer this question based on Bhagavad Gita. Is God not responsible for everything, including the bad things I do? People say you all have heard the statement that nothing moves in this world without God's sanction. Isn't it? Not even a blade of grass moves. So people many times like to lump God for all the bad things also that they do. So this is a very important question. Somebody says that, I am smoking because God wants me to smoke. Or I am drinking because God wants me to drink. People say like that. That's why it's a very important question. Even before I show you the further slides, in the beginning itself I will make this point very clear with a few examples to become very clear. You see, it was a school-going boy, he gets a fail in maths. He says, my principal is a very bad person. He failed me in the exam. He says, principal or the owner of the school, he just sets up a system where there are teachers, there are classrooms, there are labs, there are students coming, and he sets it rolling. He invests some money in building a school, and then he has put teachers, students. He may not even know which boy failed in mathematics, isn't it? So can a boy blame the owner of the school for failing in maths? How foolish it would be. It is equally foolish to blame God for the sufferings that we undergo. Because God has made this world, He has set up these systems. There are 33 crore demigods who are supplying sunlight and moonlight and wind and rainfall and all those necessities of life. And we are all like children. God has arranged for our nourishment, physical nourishment, intellectual nourishment and spiritual nourishment. Everything is arranged. So people students going to a school may fail or pass depending on their performance. They can't blame the principal or the owner or even the teachers. Ultimately, everybody does some the way they study and everything. In the same manner, for example, a king allots 1,000-acre land, 1 acre to each farmer in his kingdom. And he tells each of the farmers that now you can do plantation, to grow something. Some farmer may grow bubble trees and he may get thorny bushes. Somebody may, sow the seed of mango and he may get mango orchard. Yeah, somebody may sow neem seed and get neem trees. So you will see that ultimately the king has allotted one acre to everybody. And when the seeds are sown, the rain showers. Can they blame the rain? See, the rain is producing so many thorny bushes. Can we say like that? No. We sow the thorny seed, then we get thorny bushes. We sow the mango seed, we get the mango trees. So the seed sowing is done by the farmers individually. Similarly, our own body is called as a field in Bhagavad Gita. Idam shariram kaunteya kshetram yutya vidiyate etat yogeti tam prahuhu kshetrajnam iti tadvidaha. This is in the 13th chapter. Krishna says, Idam shariram kaunteya. Arjuna, this body is called as a field. Why is it called a field? We are all like farmers, sitting in the bodily field, and we are cultivating, good fruits or bitter fruits or whatever. So we get sukh dukh, pleasure and pain, as based on what we cultivate in this. The water is supplied by the Lord, but the seeds are sown by us. We choose what seed to sow. That's our choice. That's like, one time I asked a group of students, in a big crowd of some 400-500 students, how many of you, of course I told them, if you sow rice, paddy, you will get say 5 lakh per year. If you sow sugar cane, you get 10 lakh per year. If you sow tobacco, you will get 20 lakh per year. So I asked the students, how many of you will sow, rice? Hardly 2-3 people raised their hand. How many of you will sow sugar cane? Majority, 90% raised their hand. Then how many of you will sow tobacco? I asked. Another 10-20 fellows raised their hand. Then I asked these fellows, 10-20 fellows, that will you sow really tobacco? Tobacco actually is very harmful. Even if you eat raw tobacco, it produces ulcers in the mouth, and if you make cigarettes and smoke, then lung cancer is produced. So do you want to be the cause of destruction of some poor living entities in this world? So he said, no, that we do not know what will happen to them, but we want money. They said. So they said that. Then I asked the other fellows, why do you make sugar cane? What about making rice? Every day can you eat sugar cane in the morning, afternoon, evening? You need rice. Imagine if all the farmers are going to sow sugar cane, cash crop, then who will make the rice? You know what they said? We will sow sugar cane and we will grow it, we will take 10 lakhs. And we will throw some money and purchase rice which will be made by some other foolish farmer. So everybody thinks I am smart and others are foolish. So everybody makes only sugar cane and therefore there is food scarcity. In society, when people become sinful by sowing tobacco, or people become greedy by sowing only sugarcane, then there is food scarcity because you become greedy and sinful only when you forget God. You can see that. So when people forget God and turn away from Him, they become greedy for more and more. In the course of becoming greedy, they become sinful also eventually. Lobh paap ka baap hai, it is said. The father of greed is the father of sin is greed, it is said. One becomes extremely greedy. Therefore, yesterday I told you, sanctioned, sanctified, regulated. If you do these 3 things, you will not become greedy in this world. You will see that. So now you find that when man becomes greedy, it is said there is no prosperity in nature, there is scarcity, there is famine, there are problems. Why? Because when man turns away from God, he becomes very greedy. You see, many shops, if you go, they keep only Lakshmi, goddess of fortune, Lakshmi with a hand like this, showering gold coins. You've seen that, isn't it? I went to one of the shops, I asked him, why do you have only Lakshmi? What about Narayan? He said, that's not required, Lakshmi is good enough. No, she's giving me gold coins. So then I told him, see, Ravana also took only Lakshmi to Lanka. He didn't take Ram. In fact, he wanted to kill Ram. He wanted to keep Sita with himself. I said, this is very simple. We should never worship Shakti alone. We should worship Shakti and Shaktiman together. Because you see, Hanuman is bringing Sita Ram together. Whereas Ravana is separating Sita and Ram and taking Sita away to Lanka. As I explained to him. Then I asked him also, do you know what is the Vahan of Lakshmi? Anybody knows? Vahan. Vahan means vehicle. Owl. That's correct, yeah. Owl. She said the correct answer, yeah. Owl. So owls are awake in day or night? Whole night they are awake. Daytime they go to sleep. So owls are awake at night, and night means dark activities happen in night. Permit rooms, beer bars, brothels. All these places are very active in the night, not in the daytime. That means people who only make money from Lakshmi, they are definitely going to indulge in such activities and ruin their future. On the other hand, when one worships Lakshmi and Narayan together, Narayan means Shubha, Lakshmi means Labh. Therefore, we write Shubha Labh. Correct? No? That means Narayan and Lakshmi Narayan should be worshipped together. Like worship Sita Ram together. So, but when the living being wants to enjoy only the goddess of fortune or Lakshmi, without, like Prabhupada says, Ravana wanted kingdom of God without God. He wanted the pocket of God, he didn't want God. Even Duryodhana and Arjuna, when they went to Dwaraka also, Arjuna wanted Krishna, but Duryodhana wanted Narayana Sena. That means Duryodhana wanted Krishna's pocket, he didn't want Krishna. So many people want, in those days the pocket used to be here, you know that? Later on the pocket slowly came here. Now people are keeping here, behind. Actually Lakshmi should be kept here. You know, in those days, how many have you seen a kurta they used to have here, correct now? Your father, grandfather must have had. Because Lord Narayana keeps Lakshmi in the chest. So, therefore people want what is in Lord's chest, the Lakshmi they want, but they don't want the Lord. You see. Then they become greedy. In this way you will find, when the living being, he sows sugar cane or tobacco, then he reaps the fruits accordingly. So therefore he said, Idam Shariram Kaunteya Kshetram Ityavidiyate, and the Kshetrajna means the Jiva residing in this body is called Kshetrajna, and the body is called Kshetra. Kshetrajna means one who is knower. He is the knower of this body. Like a farmer is knower of his field. What I have sown, what is going to come out, he knows it. So that is one verse. And the second verse says, Kshetrajnam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata kshetra kshetrajnayor jnanam yattad jnanam matam mama. You know what he says? Prabhupada used this verse to defeat Mayavad philosophy. Mayavadi is saying, in this body there is a kshetrajna and there is God only, and you are that God. They say like that. They say that there is Atma so Paramatma, they say. Soul and God are one, like that they say. Whereas in this verse Krishna says, Kshetrajnam cha api. Cha means what? Also. Kshetrajnam cha api mam. I am also a Kshetrajna. Sarva Kshetreshu Bharata. The difference between you as a Kshetrajna and me as a Kshetrajna, Krishna says, you are present only in your body, and I am present in all the bodies. So he says, Kshetrajnam cha api mam, he says, for example, if you are staying in one room, if you say that, like along with me, one more devotee is staying, his name is Sri Gopal Panchalu. We both are staying. So if I am saying, I am also staying in that room, but what does it mean? Somebody else is already there. Krishna says, Kshetrajnam cha api mam vidhi. No, Arjuna, that I am also in everybody, he says. Will any of you say, if you are staying single in one room, you say, I am also staying in that room. Will you say that? You will never say that. You will say, you will only use the word also when one more is present. By this, Prabhupada proves that the Atma and Paramatma are different, two distinct personalities. Same thing you will find in the 15th chapter Purushottam Yoga also. Yasmat charamatitoham aksharaadapi chottamaha atosmi loke vede cha pratitaha purushottamaha. He says there are two souls in this world, Kshara, Akshara. Kshara means fallen souls. Akshara means liberated souls. Yasmat charamatitoham, I am beyond the Kshara souls, which is well known that he is beyond the conditioned souls. Aksharaadapi cha uttamaha. Again he is saying, I am beyond the liberated souls also. Therefore, I am celebrated in the Vedic literature as Purushottama, he says. And you want to know who he is? Uttama Purushastu Anyaha. The word Anya is using. My name is Uttama Purusha and I am different from these two souls, conditioned and liberated souls. Paramatmeti Udahritaha. And my name is Paramatma, he is saying. I am seated in all the bodies. Sarva-Kshetriya Bharata. The king is the owner of all the fields. And farmers are owner of individual fields. Like that. So we all are the owner of the individual body. Exactly not the owner, we can say we are tenant in this body, in this bodily machine. And Krishna is our owner of this machine, owner of this bodily machine. He has allotted it to us. Take this body, take this field, sow the sukha and dukkha, and you can reap sukha dukkha by sowing whatever type of seeds you want. So as long as we live from the time of birth up to the time of death, in this lifespan we have an opportunity. What we want to do with this body. You know, you can do 5 things with this body. You can underuse the body, you can overuse the body, you can abuse the body, you can rightly use the body, you can spiritually use the body. I'll tell you 5 examples, I'll tell you, you will understand. Say company gives you a car. What is the underuse of the car? You can drive the car at 20 km per hour. Somebody is asking, why are you driving it so slow? Other cycles are going ahead of you. You may say, no, I am also used to driving cycles, so I am driving car also like that. To say like that. Similarly, some people have a human body, but they don't do anything in human body. They are just reading newspaper, watching TV, eating and sleeping. You can see that they just while away the valuable human life. It's underuse of the body. Because the human body is a very, very special body where you can cleanse the heart by chanting the holy name. You can study the scriptures and strengthen your intelligence. You can use the human body as a springboard to go back to Godhead. But most people don't do that. And overuse of the body means people who wear out the car by driving at a very high speed. Like, Maruti in India goes at 80, I think 80 or 90 it goes. Imagine somebody uses it at 120 or 130 all the time. It gets burnt out. Some people work 16 hours a day. What do you call them? Muda and workaholic. Isn't it? They call workaholic. We had one seminar. Work and be holy, not a workaholic. Nice title, no? Work and be holy, not a workaholic. So workaholic means work 16 and 17. They overuse the body, burn out the body completely. So they say, no, we have to make money. So they make money up to 50 and after 50 they spend all the money for health. And they don't enjoy life at all. They are workaholic, overuse of the body. Then there is abuse of the body, means committing suicide. Abuse of the body. It's like company has given you a nice car, you take a cricket bat and break the glass. Company will take it away and give you a loan or something. They will not give you a car again, you abuse the car. Similarly, people who abuse the human body, they get a ghost body. Then somebody may rightly use the car. What is the meaning of rightly using the car? Whenever there is a red signal, you stop the car. Green signal, you drive the car. The only problem is you don't know where you are going. There are many people who say that, I go to this temple on that day and this temple on another day. On that particular day we do puja and everything. But they don't know who they are. They don't know about the soul, they don't know about God, they don't know about transmigration. And they don't know what is to be done to go beyond this world. So they are like, Ajamila was also like that before. So they are like pious people, just be good, do good, don't harm others. And but they don't know what are they living the life for, where do they go. They are pious people, they are all pious materialists. See, what is the difference between a pious materialist and a devotee? A pious materialist has himself as reference. When he goes to any temple, he will say, God gave me this, give me that. He will ask about his own demands only. Whereas devotee of God means he talks about God. He talks about who is Krishna's mother, who is Krishna's father, who is Krishna's sweetheart, who is Krishna's friends, or what is the dear animal of Krishna, what is the name of the planet in which Krishna lives. So if you keep on asking about Krishna, you go back to Krishna. If you go to temples and you keep asking for yourself, you come back to this material world. So we have to decide whether you want to be pious materialist or you want to be spiritualist. That's what makes the real difference between the pious people and the spiritual people. Spiritual people means they know that I am actually spiritual, I am trapped in this bodily machine, I am suffering in this world, I have to go beyond this world, go back to the spiritual home from where I have come. Correct? No? So, therefore, and the fifth one is spiritual use of the body. That's the right use. What is spiritual use? Rishikena, Rishikesha, Sevanam, Bhakti Ruchate. Use your body and senses and mind for engaging in Lord service. That is the. I was hearing about Radheshyam Chandra Prabhu, about his background and spiritual life since 72. He met Srila Prabhupada, and then Jivalan Patichara Maharaj, he took shelter of him, and so many, decades faithfully practicing. He similarly was telling about his wife. He was telling that she was in Bardoli, in Gujarat, and Prabhupada had seen a great welcome in Surat. After that, Prabhupada went to Bardoli, some school, he gave a program, and Mata was there, and she saw Prabhupada and saw the program and got attracted, and since then she just picked up the ocean service very strongly, never to give up. So, once you spiritual life, you pick up very sincerely, seriously, whole life you practice. Prabhupada says even 20, 30 years you fully, wholeheartedly practice spiritual life, you can go back to God, Prabhupada says. But in this world, you will find most people in this world are chasing after money, and those who have already acquired money, they are chasing after sense gratification. These are the two things. And if you are serious in Krishna consciousness, they will think you are foolish, you are very ignorant. They will think, how is this person going after God? He doesn't know how to make money. They think like that. But in the Srimad Bhagavatam it is said, all the money that you accumulate is like honeybees accumulating honey in a honeycomb. And one day the farmer comes with a fire torch and drives away the honeybees and takes it away. Similarly, when the death comes, people leave the accounts behind and go. Not a single penny follows them. So, therefore, intelligence means to accumulate that which will go with you after death also. And the only thing that goes with you is Bhakti Sukriti. Anything you have done for Krishna, that will go with you. One businessman met Srila Prabhupada in Bombay and asked Swamiji, can you teach me Bhagavad Gita in just a few sentences? I don't have time, I'm very busy, he said. Prabhupada said, all that you have done for God, right on the credit side. All that you have done for yourself, right on the debit side. And you make a balance sheet. And whatever balance sheet result you get, your result will be according to that. The man was shocked. Swamiji, I want to do something for God, but I have no time. And that means my balance sheet is only negative. It's only I have done for myself. Prabhupada said, yes, now you pick up now, start now, he said. So, therefore, the jiva in this world creates his own future. So much so that there's a word Ishvara used for jiva also. Ishvara doesn't mean is God. There's one verse that says that Shariram yadavapnoti yachapyutkramati ishvaraha grihitva itani samyati vayuh gandha nivashaya bhagavita. Prabhupada says this. Why the word Ishvara is used here? Because jiva can create his next body. Like yesterday I told you about transmigration. You are the designer of your next body. Like you want to build a house. What do? When you are going, in your car, you see different houses. Now you've got a little more money, you want to build an independent bungalow. You see different bungalows in different places. At last you see some very beautiful, colorful bungalow, you see, immediately people take a smartphone and click a photo. I want a house like this. Then after that what you check how much money will be needed, you purchase a land, then you bring the building materials, then you gradually, assemble them together. Of course, before the blueprint comes, correct now? So first the idea is in your mind, then the civil engineer makes a blueprint, then the actual house comes, correct now? Same with your body also. Right now, you have some desires. You will see that those desires bring a blueprint for the next life. And then the next life we get a body. It's a very scientific mechanism it is. So we are creating our future. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 11th canto there is an example given. When a tree is green, it showers a lot of seeds and then it dries up. Similarly, when our body is young, we commit a lot of sinful activities. and then our body dries up. And then those seeds we create multiple bodies in future. That is how the Jivatma keeps on taking bodies in this world again and again. So therefore, Krishna clearly makes this point in the Bhagavad Gita that he is like a father who goes with the child to the park. Sometimes you have seen the parents go to the park with the child and they are sitting in a park bench very coolly. But the child goes and plays. Sometimes in the games the child cries. Sometimes he sits in a seesaw and he hits his back or something. Or sometimes he's coming in a slide, he's smiling. Sometimes he smiles, sometimes he cries. So a child is enjoying or suffering in the park, and the father and mother, they just go and sit in a place, just watching from a distance. Same way, Lord has brought us into this world because we wanted to come here. And He has given us the freedom. Now you choose to do what you wish to do, what you want to do. Some people say, how can anybody allow me to go on doing sinful activities without stopping me? That means God is merciless. Why is He not stopping me? Actually, therefore I will show you that. That is soon. See, the three impurities that leads us to sinful action. Let's begin with that. See, there are two mentalities I have shown here: Bhoga Vritti and Seva Vritti. So what I have shown for Bhoga Vritti, what example? Ravana I have shown. And for Seva Vritti? Hanuman, yeah. So these two mentalities can be seen in this world. Krishna calls it as three gates to hell. Trividam narakasyedam dvaram nashanam kama krodha tata lobhas tasmat etatrayam tyajet. Once you give up these three enemies, he says, to the soul. If the soul actually falls down in this world because of this lag, lag. This makes us lag in our progress. But you don't want to lag, you want to lead. If we want to go ahead, we have to rise beyond this stage. So lust means adamant desire for the prohibited. That's called as lust. And anger means when you have adamant desire for the prohibited, you are not allowed to, then you become angry. When we are provided that facility, then we become more and more greedy. So when people think that I am in control of everyone and everything, I can get what I want, I'll beat my rival, I'll work 18 hours a day and finish my job, I'll make so much money. Actually, Krishna says verses in 16th chapter, Idamanyamaya labdam imam prapsye manoratam idamasti idamapi me bhavishyanti punardanam. And then he says, Adyo abhijanamanasmi konyosti sadrisho maya ishvaroham aham bhogi siddhoham balavan sukhi. Like that he says, now this year I made $2 million, next year I'll make 4 million. And after 3 more years I'll be 10 million. And there is only one fellow who is competing with me. And what I will do with him, I'll finish him. And other things. Actually, we may sometimes say it as an example, but really it happened in India, a place called Latur. In 2019, July, there was one Sharma tutorials going on there. And some tutorials. And then he had one of those professors left his tuition center and started his own. And he started step-by-step tutorials. And then he expanded 4 or 5 branches in the same city, quickly within a year. And he got many IIT and NIT professors to come and teach. So the original owner, he became very insecure. He thought that, he went out of our institute and he is surpassing us. So he arranged somebody to finish up that person. It came in the paper. We can see that people can become so envious. So the living beings become depressed, they become angry, they become envious, they become greedy, like you see in the picture. So therefore we need self-purification. We say purifying our mind means 3 things we have to do. I am the proprietor, I am the boss and controller, I am the enjoyer. These are the 3 impurities. So how do you remember? Like, proprietor, controller, enjoyer. You want to enjoy. Like that you will see the proprietor means want to possess. Like Alexander wanted to be a proprietor. He wanted to occupy the whole world. Even the British people also, Great Britain, if you see, they practically went all over the world. Now it has become small Britain now. The Great Britain. How big it was at one time, isn't it? So, same manner you see Bali Maharaj, he took over the kingdom of the Devatas. There's a fight for proprietorship. See, even in this world, you will see what is big of Bali Maharaj and Alexander and all these fellows. Even You will see one country tries to occupy another country, correct? No? Mughals were occupying India for about 700 years. No? Then British occupied for 200 years. You will see that. Same way, other countries also people take over. We are talking at country level, world level. I can tell you at small level. One time I was sitting in a train. I saw the train as soon as it stopped in a station. One fellow put a kerchief for the window seat. From the window only he put. Another big crowd of people got into the train and that fellow threw away the kerchief. And he sat. And then when this fellow kerchief came, he asked, hey, where is my kerchief? He said, it's down, take it, he said. He said, no, I got the seat. He said, no, you can't catch from the window, he said. You have to come through the door and then catch. And there was a big fight. And nobody was sitting in the seat. These two fellows were yelling and shouting and catching collar and slapping and punching. And nobody dared to sit there because they thought they will also get beaten up. And 3-4 stations they were arguing with one another and they both got down, the seat remained as it is. You see, that is a fight for proprietorship. Similarly, in Pune there is a big stone palace. I heard in those days kings used to fight tooth and nail. Many kings died for fighting for that palace. Now only bats are flying there. There's nobody there. Only bats are occupying there now. So there's a fight for proprietorship. Similarly, controllership means, there's a tendency, even in a small house, if you take husband, wife, children, everybody wants to claim that I am the controller. Like if a man goes to office, his colleagues are asking him, who is the boss in your house? He says, I am the boss. I am bringing money. I am the boss, he will say. And if you ask the wife, or the friends are asking, who is the boss? She will say, you see, my husband brings money, but I am the one who decides how the money will be spent. I am the finance controller. So I am the boss. And the child will say that, if I wave my hands and legs and shout, mother, father, uncle, aunt, and grandmother, grandfather, everybody will come running, so I am the controller. So there's a tendency for everybody to think, I want to control others. See, there are two types of control. One control is very aggressive control and that causes pain to one another. And the real control is, for example, a father and a small boy, small son. Sometimes they have a stunt, you have seen that they do stunt scene. And who is defeated generally? Here there's a father and son sitting, you can ask them. You can ask, is father defeated or the son defeated?
Son defeated.
Is son defeated?
Father defeated.
Yeah, you will always see father will be defeated, son will sit on him and say, Papa, I have defeated you now. But you will never find the father who is very mighty and powerful. He is slapping and taking the son and putting on the ground and say, now I have defeated him. You will never see that. Because father and son are in love. So the father doesn't mind being controlled by his son out of love. Therefore Krishna also, Prabhupada said that. You see, Haridas Thakur chanted 3 lakh names. Lord Chaitanya chanted only 1 lakh names every day. Yeah. And when Hanuman crossed over the ocean, he just jumped. Whereas Lord Rama needed a Setu mantra to go. And Prabhupada, in the same manner Prabhupada said, Lord Chaitanya preached only in India, but I am preaching all over the world. How is it? And then Prabhupada said, because the Lord likes to see his devotees become more famous than himself also. Like that. That is true control. So, same manner, if you see Lakshmi is massaging the feet of Narayana, and Narayana is telling, oh Lakshmi, enough now, you take rest. I have a place for you in my chest. There is a place where there is a golden hair in Lord Narayana's chest. So Lakshmi can go inside and rest. So Lord Narayana is telling you rest. But Lakshmi is saying, no, I will do service. So Prabhupada said, husband, wife should be like this, he said. Or husband should say, I will get some sabji for you in the kitchen. Wife should say, no, 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 you go and do your work, I can manage myself. That's a very happy house. People put a board, no, home sweet home. Board is not enough. For a home to be a really sweet home, the control should be, how should be the control? It should be a loving control, not a bossing control. Correct? No? And third one is, I am the enjoyer. Which means, enjoyer means, see, I have given you the opposites also. I am the proprietor. What is the opposite of that? Everything belongs to Krishna. I am only a custodian of God's property. I am the boss and controller. Instead of thinking like that, we should think, I am not boss, I am das. And I am servant of God and devotees. That's right consciousness. I am the enjoyer. No. Instead of that, we should think, my perfection is to be engaged in God's service. That is one verse, Gopal Guru Goswami says, Mam Ankikritya Maya Saha Ramasva. He is telling to Srimati Radharani, Mam Ankikritya means, oh Radharani, possess me, own me, and engage me as one of your servants. Like that he is telling. Just like we say to Tulsi Maharani, Karo Nija Dasi, we say, no? That's a very, very beautiful song. Tulsi, see, if you really read the song very attentively, you will see that. First what he says, Tulsi Krishna Prayasi, Namo Namaha. Oh, very dear servant of Krishna Tulsi, I offer my namaskar to you. And then he says, first he says, Ye tumhara sharanaloy, Tara Vancha Purna. First he is praising her. He is saying that anyone who takes shelter of your lotus feet, all their desires will be fulfilled. See, by saying this, indirectly he is telling us that now I am going to express a desire. Because anybody who expresses that desire to you, that desires are fulfilled. Then she may ask, okay, come on, tell me, what have you come to me for? What do you want? Then he says, Moraye Avilash, Vilas Kunjeti Yovas. He says that my desire is that I want to reside in Vrindavan in one of the kunjas. Tulsi Maharani may say, hey, in the very first beginning only you are able to enter Vrindavan. Not only Vrindavan, you want a kunja also. Accommodation in Vrindavan also. So this is too much because nobody gets into Vrindavan so easily. You have to attain Vrindavan Prajapati consciousness. And then he's saying, she says, okay, one kunja I will allot for you, no problem, come to Vrindavan. Then he says, Nayane he Ribosada Yugala Ruparashi. Give me the kunja next to Radha Krishna's kunja. Because from there I should be able to see Radha Krishna. Like that he's asking. So now she may say, hey, this is even more a big demand. First you said you want to be in Vrindavan, then you say you want a kunja there. Now you want a kunja where you can see Radha Krishna also. And then what he says? And the third line after that what he says? Ye nivedana dharo sakhirano gata karo sevayadi kardiye karo nityadas. He's saying, Ye nivedana. He's saying that I have one more request. I have already demanded a lot from you, but one last demand, he says. What is it? There are so many Sakhis of Srimati Radharani moving around. Lalita, Shaka, Tungavika, Chitra, Rangadevi, Sudevi, so many of them. So, can you please introduce me to one of them? Because by your recommendation, I can get to become a servant of them. Otherwise, they will not recognize me. Tulsi Maharani says, hey, what are you asking? They are all busy with thousands of servant maids. They have no time. Then he says, okay, if none of them will give time, at least you are hearing me, you only make me your servant. Karo Nija Dasi, he says. If they won't accommodate me, you accommodate me. You are anyway accepting me. Already the very fact that you are hearing from me means you are concerned about me. So please accept me as your servant. Karo Nija Dasi. Peyi nivedana daro, sakirano data karo, seva adhikar diye, Karo Nija Dasi. Please give me some service to the divine couple and make me your servant. Then Tulsi Maharani asked, hey, now you are demanding too many things. There are a dozen things you are demanding one by one. Then he says, what can I do? The last line, what he says? Dina Krishna Das. I am after all Krishna Das. So I have nothing, no other identity. My only identity is I am Krishna Das. I am Dina Krishna Das. And then he's saying, what is the next line? Dina Krishna Das. Sri Radha Govinda Prene Sadayena Vasa. Because my very existence is to delight in the service of Sri Radha and Govinda. And I cannot think of any other activity. What can I do? This is the only activity I want to do, and it is only possible if I take your shelter. Therefore I come to you. So, why I am saying this, you will see that a devotee doesn't think I am an enjoyer. A devotee wants to be enjoyed by the divine couple. Use me in your service, like Hanuman was engaged in service by Rama. Go and find out Sita. And then again Sita engaged Hanuman in Rama's service by giving, Rama gave one ring to go to Sita and give it. And Sita gave one chudamani to give it to Rama. Both are giving service. So, but one should not approach Ram directly. One should approach Ram through Sita Ram, we say. Why? Because when Ram gave him service, the benefit of Ram giving service to Hanuman is that Hanuman got a fire in the tail. On the other hand, when he agreed to become Sita's servant, he got embrace of Ram. So which one you want? You want fire in your tail? Of course. You may say you have no tail. No? See, if somebody takes shelter of only directly Krishna, it's very difficult. But if you take shelter of Radharani, the Mahatmanastamam Partha Daivim Prakriti Mashita. Then you get embrace of Krishna by that. You get embrace of Ram by that. So we want to be enjoyed by the Lord, not become enjoyed. Now these 3 points I explained in many slides. It will be easy for you now when you see now. See, Prabhupada writes in the purport 1.4. Generally, one who does not know the science of God, Krishna, assumes that this material world is for the enjoyment of the living entities, and that the living entities are Purushas, the causes and controllers natures of the material energy. See, modern man teaches the children in school that man is the center of the world, and the nature and animals and birds, everything is meant for man to consume and enjoy. Correct, no? That's what they teach the children. You are the center of the world. We are not the center. Krishna is the center. We are also one of the millions of living entities existing in the world to meant to serve and please and satisfy Krishna. That's the correct understanding. So, and then we want to be in control of money, situations and people around us as per our will and wish, without anybody's interference. That's what every jiva comes with a plan. Everybody wants to enjoy independently. If you very carefully observe the scientific advancement, they want to enjoy the world, but at the same time not get punished also. For example, like sun is very hot, for example, or the winter is very cold. So in winter they have a heat pump. In summer they have a air-conditioned room. Like that. That means, they want to circumvent the Trivida Tap, Adhyatmika, Adhibhautika, Adhidaivika, and keep on counteracting it and continuing their life without asking why these sufferings are given to us. And why am I getting suffering in the first place? Suffering is coming because we have turned away from the Lord. One boy was asking Prabhupada, Swamiji, bad is there in this world, that means in God also there must be bad. Otherwise, how are we seeing bad? Everything ultimately should exist in God. Prabhupada told him, see, when you look at the sun, there is no shadow. When you turn away from the sun, you see shadow. Similarly, when you look at Krishna, there is no blemish in Krishna. It's called a Samam Bonam, means spotlessly pure. But when you turn away from Krishna, then all problems you will see. There's one verse which says in Bhagavatam, Janasya Krishnat Vimukasya Daivat Adharmashilasya Sudukhitasya Anugrahaye Gacharanti Nonam Bhutani Bhavyani Janardhanasya. Very simple meaning. 3 words are used. Janasya Krishnat Vimukasya, when the Janta turns away from Krishna, Vimukasya. What they do? Adharmashilasya means what? Adharmashil means? Irreligious. They become irreligious. Sudukhitasya, he says, which means they become miserable. Dukhitasya means miserable. Sudukhitasya means too much miserable. So if you, instead of Sudukhitasya, you want to become Susukhitasya, what you have to do? Instead of Adharmashil, you have to become Dharmashil. And how will you become Dharmashil? By turning towards Krishna. Instead of Bahimukh, we have to become Unmukh. That's all. So now you see, in Krishna consciousness, we become aware that earth, water, fire, air, every active principle, all chemicals and all material elements are due to Krishna. See, there are 120 elements in periodic table. They also should put in the top, all these elements are originated from Krishna, which they don't write generally. Which is very important. Because Krishna says, Bhumi Rapo Anala Vaya Kamana Buddhireva Ahankar Itiyam Me. Prabhupada says, Itiyam Me Binna Me. Krishna says, Me means what? Mine. He says that's mine. So Krishna claims that the material world was created by him. So he is the proprietor. Yeah. While exploiting the gross and subtle inferior energy, the superior energy living entity forgets his real spiritual mind and intelligence. This forgetfulness is due to the influence of matter upon the living entity. But when the living entity becomes free from influence of illusory material energy, he attains a stage called mukti or liberation. I've shown 2 pictures on the right side if you see. Below Duryodhana, Shapani, all of them are attached to land and gold and everything, greed. On the top we have shown a devotee going back to Godhead. See, if you strengthen your upward connection, you can clearly see that I am different from the body. The senses, the body, the mind, they are all separate from me. And I am seated in this bodily machine, my relation is only with Krishna. So that upward connection takes you upward, back to Bhuloka to Goloka. Whereas the downward connection, if you identify with the world around, then the gold and silver and diamond and land and everything, then we become attached like this. Here if you see proprietorship, see this child is eating the whole cake, you see? You saw that? You want to own the whole cake. Such a tiny fellow, how will he finish that one? Isn't it? Similarly, Bali Maharaj also wanted to usurp the whole three world, three lokadipati. Same with Duryodhana also. Yeah. On the other hand, Yudhishthira Maharaj said, I am the only custodian of Supreme Lord's property. It was his consciousness. I am not the owner, I am only custodian. That's the right consciousness. Similarly, controllership. See, this fellow wants to control the whole globe. Here in the left bottom, you see husband and wife want to prove to one another, I am right, you are wrong. They are trying to control. They have taken a photo at a nice time, exact. Even without the knowledge, they must have taken, powerfully taken. It looks like a real argument. On the other side, you see, right bottom. Actually, generally what happens when a boy grows up and gets married, the mother becomes a little insecure that, is my son going to listen to me or to his newly wedded wife? Like that she thinks. And the daughter-in-law who comes to home, she wants to check, till now my husband has been with his mother. Now I think he will listen to me now. She wants. So both of them want him to listen. So therefore you can see in the picture, both are pulling his hands to hear, listen to me, hear me. So in some homes, it's rarely you find that mother-in-law and daughter-in-law have a sweet relationship. If daughter-in-law allows mother-in-law to be the queen of the house. My daughter-in-law is a very intelligent girl, very submissive. She knows very well the psychology, she knows. So when she comes to her in-laws house, she understands that mother-in-law be the queen, and she will ask for every small thing. And she will treat her like a mother-in-law will become mother-in-law, we say. She will treat her so well that the husband is his head is peaceful. Because when his mother and wife are in good terms with each other, then he is peaceful. Otherwise, look at this fellow, is like murdering on both sides. Isn't it? So, because both are trying to control him, and he will be torn to pieces. He can't be peaceful. So this controllership mentality, you see, bossing over one another. Actually, one of the easiest ways to give up controllership is not to try to prove, but try to improve. Well, just you have to add the I am before the prove. So that's the only small thing we have to do. Many times. Like, here in this left bottom, you see this husband and wife trying to prove. Actually, she said, I told you in the morning to bring it, you forgot. And he said, hey, don't tell me, you never told me in the morning. And she says, no, when I was speaking to you, I already told you don't attend to the phone call because one hand phone and you are hearing me, you didn't listen to me well, she said. And this fellow says, if you want, you tell me, I will bring now, but you didn't tell me in the morning. Then it goes back and forth. Sometimes 2 hours they may be fighting. If one out of the two says, husband says, maybe you told me, I forgot. And she says, now you admit it. Okay, now you go and bring now. But the fight is finished, you will see that. It's controllership mentality. See, no controllership mentality means I am servant leader to empower my team members to become leaders. Which means a true servant leader is one who encourages and empowers his members to become leaders. Just like Jambavan empowered Hanuman to find out Sita. You see? I am an instrument of God to serve those in my care. I am not the ultimate controller. So anybody who thinks like this, they can actually flourish themselves and make others flourish also. These are called as kingmakers, we call them. Kingmakers means from their team, many leaders will come out. That kind of servant leader. So servant leader is the right mentality. My spiritual master was saying, Lord Krishna is the real person whom can say he is servant of the servant, he said. So we asked him, how do you say he is servant of the servant? He said, Arjuna was a servant of Yudhishthira, and Krishna made himself servant of Arjuna. So he is servant of servant. So he wanted to assist Yudhishthira Maharaj, not directly, but through Arjuna. So that's a very amazing mentality. And enjoyership, you see, the Ravana thought Sita is for my enjoyment. So in this way, the enjoyership means like Hiranyakashipu wanted to be Ekrat, king of the whole, all the 3 planetary systems. And actually, although everybody saluted him and obeyed him except one small 5-year-old boy, he couldn't tolerate that one boy not surrendering to him. He wanted to finish him. Wanting to wipe out that boy, he himself got wiped out. So see that. See these 2 children. This girl is trying to snatch away all the toys, leaving the other one without any toys. You get lost. So this is enjoy mentality. Enjoy means I want to enjoy everything, and I won't share with anybody. See, if you go to Mayapur, you better bring a cake. You bring it home, you can do two things. One is keep it in the cupboard and every day take little. Or call your all devotee friends and share it with them. It depends on your attitude. You can think about what you will do. If you share it with many, you will get that blessings also. Or sometimes if you imagine somebody gives you a dozen mangoes, every day you eat one mango, you will have a problem. Instead of that, better you share it with others. So, enjoyship means I want to enjoy everything. Opposite of that is sharing. So, how do we cleanse these three impurities? By chanting. So when we chant the holy name, exactly what happens? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. The super soul in our heart is hearing it. The super soul is watching that, oh, this person wants to cleanse his heart. This jiva wants to give up these three mentalities of proprietorship, controllership, and enjoyship. So let me, and then when we see our humble attitude, respectful attitude, tolerant attitude, and we respect Hari, Guru, Vaishnavas, all of them, then the more we have the right attitude, it cleanses our heart very fast. So, yeah, it is a protection from dangers offered by Maya, and we are delivered from forgetfulness of Krishna by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. And also, apart from chanting Hare Krishna, one more thing we can do, we can cultivate the practice called Nishkama Karma Yoga. That means, we should try to do selfless work. For example, what is perfect knowledge? One has to keep remembering this. I am not the mental body, I am the spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna, and I want to render service to Krishna, and work in a detached spirit. Like Arjuna was told by Krishna, don't fight as a Kshatriya, fight as my devotee. Krishna told them. Because if you fight as a Kshatriya, you may have some vengeance towards somebody. Don't have any vengeance towards anybody. You fight because I have ordered you to fight. You fight as my devotee, Krishna told them. And also Krishna told them, earlier you were thinking that, I will get the... Krishna, he said that, Arjuna told him in one verse. What is that verse? Kim no rajena govinda kim bhoga jivitena va. He says, Krishna, even if I win the unraveled kingdom, all enemies will be dead. To whom can I show off? That means he's thinking from the point of view of how I can show off. Or he is saying that, I don't want to do this. So you will find that Arjuna, he was thinking from his own point of view of profit and loss. Whereas Krishna taught him that, if you are a devotee, you don't bother about profit loss. You are like a cashier. Cashier takes the money and puts in the bank, takes money and gives it to people. He acts as the intermediate man, and he doesn't cry when money is withdrawn. He doesn't jump up and down when money comes, because he is acting on behalf of the bank. So Krishna said the same thing, like a soldier fighting in a battle. Soldier, he may kill. I have one friend in India, one soldier in there. He's not just a soldier, he's a tank fighter. Tank fighter? One who sits in the tank and goes in the army. One lieutenant colonel. So he said in the war with Pakistan, he had finished 100 people, 50 to 100 people. The wars he had fought. So now he said, I have seen death happening in the battlefield. But when you come back, then they will give you some medal. Like people they are given some Paramir Chakra and things like that, isn't it? But the same soldier, if he works on his own account, say he fights with his neighbor and shoots him, then he'll be put behind the bars. So if you work in our account, they are behind the bars. If you work in Krishna's account, you are given a gift. Like that. Like you can see one side Krishna Arjuna, one side Duryodhana. You can see that. So Duryodhana is thinking that I will finish Pandavas and enjoy the world. He's thinking about his own enjoyment. Think about Arjuna. He's thinking that Krishna is ordered me to fight, so I'll fight. In those days, we used to have this audio tape. You all have seen that? So when the audio tape moves, so this becomes more and more bigger. And this becomes more and more unknown. So Arjuna was like this unwinding side. And Duryodhana was like this, which was getting bigger and bigger. Karma Bandhana was increasing for Duryodhana. And for Arjuna it was getting removed more and more. Because he was working on Krishna's account. Like here, for example, say somebody gives, okay, this is a question for all of you. Say you go to a Jamindar, he tells you that I have a very big piece of land here, 1 acre of land. In this 1 acre, take the seeds, go and put the seeds, And here is a hose pipe, you can get the water also. And if I make these flowers, make this garden of flowers, and I'll give you a monthly salary. Okay? Whatever work you do. You are a Mali, you are a gardener. So at the end of the month, imagine a lot of colorful flowers come out. So those flowers belong to whom? It belongs to you or to the Jamindar? Jamindar. Because the land belongs to him, water belongs to him, isn't it? The seeds were given by him. But you only deserve a remuneration. In the same manner, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that Balam Balavatam Chaham, the strength that you have is given by me. Buddhir Buddhimatam Asmi. Even Einstein didn't create his own brain. Because Einstein was given the brain by Krishna. So, scientists are given the brain, given the senses like eyes, ears, nose and all. And also the 120 Mandal's periodic table I showed you, elements. That is created by Krishna. All three are done by him. Therefore, whatever we produce out of this belongs to Krishna only. That's the point. But what is the remuneration Krishna is giving us? He is giving us sunlight, moonlight, and the grains and fruits and cereals. Remuneration we are getting. Therefore, we don't deserve to claim anything in this world. Everything belongs to him. That's the point. For example, if you ask Hanuman, you ask him, who are you? What he will say? I am Ramdas, a Ramdut. I am servant of God. What work you do? He will say, I only do work allotted by Ram. Whatever work. And how do you work? I work with sincerity, dedication to the best of my ability. And what do you do with the results? I hand it over to God. This is the mood, this is called Karma Yoga, Nishkama Karma Yoga. This is the mood in which we have to perform our work. Before beginning the work, you should think of God. Oh God, I'm doing your work. So Hanuman was praying to Lord Rama before jumping to Lanka. And even in Lanka, he was always alert that I am working for Ram. He didn't forget the mission. So it's called Nishkama Karma Yoga. I have shown Janaka, Maharaja I have shown. So these are all possible when you do self-awareness. It helps you to become resilient to the winds of change in this world. You are aware that I am not the body, I am the spirit soul. You observe yourself. You become a steward of the resources and protector of your dependents. You can become an ideal leader by learning these things. And you can also become empowered by Krishna's grace also and do great things like Arjuna could do great things. You can become empowered. You can actually become a stewardship leader, which means the servant leader. And you can experience peace. So knowing the tripod to cultivate detachment, that now this is very easy because I have already spoken about super soul for you. See, one who sees the super soul accompanying the individual soul in all the bodies, and who understands that neither the soul nor the super soul within the destructible body is ever destroyed, he actually sees. You are seeing the soul and super soul, and that is never destroyed. Body is destroyed, but the soul and super soul are never destroyed. They go from one body to another, like two birds sitting in a tree. In every field of activities, in every body, there are two souls, individual and soul and super soul. Because the super soul is the plenary expansion of Supreme Lord, Krishna. He says, I am also the knower, but I am not the individual owner of the body. I am the super knower, Krishna says. We are knower, he is super knower. There is soul and super soul in every body. You can see that. So, this is a very important truth to be known. And why the super soul is going with the soul, there is a reason. See here, as you see, the soul expresses its desire to the super soul in the heart. And the super soul orders the Prakriti, Durga, to sanction the desire of the Jiva. Then that's how the tripod is complete. The Jiva cannot do anything on his own. He has only expressed a desire. When he expresses the desire, then the super soul may or may not order the Prakriti, depending on what you deserve or what you don't deserve. Then only it is sanctioned. But generally we don't realize this. Why? For example, this bulb, if I switch off, it will get off. When I switch on, it will be on. Then I tend to gradually start thinking that I am the controller of this bulb. But when the electricity board, they shut down, my switching on and off is of no consequence. Similarly, when God doesn't sanction, many times you will see that things don't work. You can see that. Then people are suddenly shocked. Yeah. Like I had one driver in Pune who used to drive the sumo, One day he told me, please finish the program early today, Prabhu, and I'm very tired, he was telling. let's go, we'll leave by 9. Somehow it became 9:30 when we were leaving. So he took the sumo and fastly he drove. So when we came out of the lane, when he had to take a right, he moved the steering, but the Gadi was going straight only. It was not taking right at all. Fortunately, the brake was working. He put a sudden brake. I asked him, why are you going straight? He said, no, I'm not going straight, I'm turning, but this steering is disconnected from the wheel. So it's not turning right. I lost my control. Then I told him, see, you are not the controller, I told him. You were very stylishly driving very fast, thinking yourself to be controller. Now you lost the control now. So, therefore you will see that it's not that we are not controller, we are a minor controller. We are not ultimate controller. Just like a cow tied to a pole has a limited radius in which it can roam. So we have some control. Prabhupada was telling in Honolulu, one man was telling Prabhupada, Swamiji, man is sending big jumbo jets up in the sky. You see above the ocean, there's a very big jumbo jet is flying, plane is flying, you see. Has man not done miracles? Prabhupada said, what is so great about it? When petrol is over, it will come down. Like Prabhupada said. And the man said, but Swamiji, at least man has some control, limited control at least. Prabhupada said, limited control means no control. Prabhupada said, but God has unlimited. It's called Swarat. Swarat means what? Nobody can control him. He is beyond everyone and everything. He is unlimited. So, and Prabhupada said, God's greatness is not one-sided, it is two-sided, he said. God can make a huge thing like a, Saturn or Jupiter planet, and he can make something like a small mosquito also, or amoeba also. God can make like that. So, but man's greatness is not two-sided. He cannot make such tiny things. See, when God sanctions and orders, then material nature arranges the facility. For example, the son is going and asking father, Papa, please give me some money, I want to buy some eatable. And father is giving now. Just like the son is getting from the father, similarly we are getting from the super soul. We should not forget this fact. Now father is smiling, which means the father is happy with the son's request. He is not unhappy, because sometimes the jiva may ask the right things also. Please Krishna, give me association of devotees. Please Krishna, purify my heart. Please Krishna, let me love you and serve you. Please Krishna, let me give up my proprietorship mentality, controllership mentality, enjoyment mentality. Please Krishna, help me advance in spiritual life. Please Krishna, give me direction. Please Krishna, protect, save me from Maya. So all these are wonderful prayers. The Lord will smile and He will bestow our request. But here this boy is demanding M&M. And the father is saying, Beta, it's not good for you. Already your 4 tooth are gone. You will lose everything. But the son is not listening. And the father is reluctantly giving. And the mother is trying to pacify the husband, but the father is not even looking at the boy, he is giving. That's how Super Soul also gives. Okay, if you are very adamant, he will give. Like, when the soul says, I want to occupy the body of a pig and eat some dirty things, but Krishna is not very happy. But the jiva adamantly demands and occupies such a body, you see. So reluctantly, Lord gives. Actually, this type of mentalities Lord doesn't like. See this fellow, I did it, I was the first one to do this, nobody else can do this. I am indispensable, I am very important, I did this, boasting about oneself. So in Rajoguna there are two things. Phalakankshi is one, before getting results, and after getting results, becoming afflicted by pride. Before getting the results, we are greedy for results. So this is the mentality. Duryodhana was like that also. Yeah. And the opposite example is Hanuman. You can see how he offered results to Rama without any. So forgetfulness of our real nature, misidentification leads to suffering. And revival of a real position, we become aloof from bodily activities and observe that we are only seated in the body and begging the Lord for our fulfilling our desires, then we become happy. So you can see only the bold letters you can see. Abandoning of egoism and desire for fruit. You have to abandon the desire for fruit and abandon the egoism. That's the meaning of mentally giving up action. Mentally giving up affection. Then you don't get karma bandhan. That means, you should leave the results to Krishna. You do your best, like I sow the seed, God gives the rains. I give the interview, the panel may or may not choose me. I write the exam and the teachers will give me marks. So it's always, we are a co-worker with God. So because I am co-worker with God, I should not, like one girl in South India, she got some 93% in 12th standard, When she wrote NEET exam and she failed, then all her friends were repeatedly asking, how you could fail in the NEET exam? You got 93 in the 12th and everything. So she couldn't take it. She ate some rat poison and died. Because, because she thought that I am the controller of my results. She thought like that. Because she couldn't control the result, she lost control. Finally, and then she committed suicide. When we know that I will do my effort and the result is in whose hands? Krishna's hands, yeah. Therefore, abandoning of egoism and desire for the fruit, yeah. And then below one it says, giving up desire-prompted actions is true renunciation. What is desire-prompted action? Duryodhana wanted Narayana Sena. Let's call it a desire-prompted action. Whereas Arjuna, he didn't have any desires. He told Krishna that I don't want to fight, but if you order me to fight, I'll fight. Karishye vachanam shava. Because that's Arjuna. Arjuna had no personal agenda. I am fighting because who is telling me to fight? Krishna. So, giving up desire-prompted actions is true renunciation. Giving up worldly rewards is true sacrifice. Like the he says. I think the last slide, I think. Yeah. So who is the doer? If you see the below bottom, in this verse the impressions are said to be the doer, taking the chief import of the word. Impressions, you all know that. I told you yesterday about that. Like a wind carries the aromas, like that we are carrying karma vasanas from the Purva Janma. Good and bad vasanas. But those vasanas can be completely deleted by chanting the holy name. If you don't remove them, then those vasanas will come out as proprietorship, controllership, enjoyership mentalities. So these are the steps we have to adopt. Starve the bad habits. Abstain from bad people and bad objects. That's first one. And supplement with good habits. Because not only you give up bad habits, supplement good habits with good association and good objects. For example, temple ambience is a beautiful ambience. And you all are getting very soon coming up with a big temple also. And today Niramana Prabhu took me in and showed the temple. It's a beautiful temple hall. Our Pune temple hall is very similar to this. Very big temple hall. So more bigger temple means more opportunity for seva also. I heard many of you live in that locality. So in this way, come to the beautiful ambience of the temple. The temple when you come. Recently I was doing a program in Boston temple. One of the boys, the Indian boys, we had about 120 youths had come. So one of the boys had tears in his eyes. I asked him, what makes you so moved here in our temple? He said, Prabhu, I feel so happy. I went to Google and searched, is there any temple in this area in Boston? I found out this temple. When I smell the flowers, when I smell the agarbatti, when I see the pictures of Krishna and pastimes and everything, I feel at home. When I come here, I feel very much naturally drawn to this place. So, therefore, temple is a place which is a very uplifting place. It's a positive boost of positive energy. One should regularly come to temple. And then you learn good habits also in the temple. You politely speak to people, you offer obeisances to people, you don't raise your tone, you don't speak harshly. In temple you say to everybody, I am your servant. How can I serve you? Otherwise when you go in the outside world, you say, I am your boss. You hear what I say. That's our other mentality. So we supplement with good habits and stay away from tempting environment and tempting association. Tempting environment means like somebody may go to the clubs where people smoke and drink. But tempting environment can be even a smartphone. Somebody may see things in a smartphone which are prohibited. Therefore, one should stay away from anything that is tempting by putting some restriction. Even for children, we have this, what do you call it, parental control. So, just as children need parental control, we also need a supreme parental control. Whatever Radha and Krishna, Lord is putting some restriction, we have to follow that also. One time I asked, many parents were sitting, I asked them, how many of you here will want your sons and daughters to be completely obedient to you and do everything with your agreement? Everybody raised both the hands. And everybody said, I said, in the same manner God wants you to cooperate with Him. He said, oh, this we never thought. That's what Krishna says, Sarvadharman Pariteja. Yeah. Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. Bhakta-vrinda ki Jai. What is the time? Oh, it's very late. Can I take 5 minutes questions, Prabhu? All right? Prabhu? Okay. Anybody wishes to say or ask anything? So the matter became clear now?
Yes.
Yes, Hari, go ahead.
So, Prabhu, you had a slide about self-purification, in which the left-hand side had the things we have to give up, right-hand side where we have to attain to. So people often go for the left-hand side things, control, enjoyment, because it gives some short-term pleasure.
Right, you are right.
But then the long-term things is what we're aiming for on the right-hand side. What happens if we're in the middle? Like, we're trying to give up short-term pleasure, trying to get to long-term, but then we're not enjoying anything.
You are right. Actually, the demons in this world want to only exploit and enjoy. And the pure devotees only want to serve. And the other demigods in between, they want to serve the Lord. At the same time, they still have some propensity for enjoying. That's called karma mishra bhakti, like Indra. Indra want to serve Vishnu. He want to keep up Brahminical culture in the whole world. But he has a little propensity to enjoy also. And that is a situation of all the practicing devotees, sadhana bhaktas. We have some tendency to enjoy and some tendency to serve also. So what we have to do eventually is increase the seva bhava propensity more and more and gradually shrink the enjoying mentality. And the first step in that is to observe. We have to observe ourselves. 5 things we can observe. Do I want to serve other Vaishnavas, or do I mostly strive after getting service from others? Or do I want to respect Vaishnavas, or do I strive for respect? Do I care for others' needs, interests, concerns and expectations, or mostly I care about myself? Do I feel glad upon seeing others' advancement in spiritual life, or do I feel envious? And do I depend on Guru and Krishna for executing my plans or for guidance, or I try to go ahead in my life with my plans without consulting anybody? These 5 things we can ask. It's called SRCGD. Remember this. Easy way to remember this acrosis style. I'll tell you how to remember this. Sri Radha Consciousness, Gaura Dances. SRCGD. So, S for service, R for respect, C for care, G for glad upon seeing advancement, and D for dependence on Guru and Krishna. So this is called a scale of humility. So I read it in one book by Sajjananda Maharaj's Nectar Notion of the Holy Name. I got these 5 questions there. So he calls it as a scale of humility. If any of us want to test our humility, these 5 questions we can ask. So these 5 are the things we have to keep working on. How do we, if any of you know Hindi very well, in my channel I have put this lecture on SRCGD. It's available just recently, it's in Hindi actually. Yeah. I think it's session 2 or 3, I think. You'll find it. So these 5 items are worthy for meditating upon. How to come out of these 3 mentalities. Yeah. Thank you. It was a good question. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. It was a wonderful class. Thank you so much for a nice presentation.
Thank you.
The question I have is, you mentioned about the lack, the lust, anger and greed.
Yeah.
Then the solution is to chant the holy name of the Lord and that will go. But then the problem is probably like when you chant not in the pure, my chanting is not to that extent of the pureness, right? So in that case also still the lag will go away, or?
Actually, it's a proportion we are attentively chanting. To that degree, it goes away faster. And because in our current stage, our chanting is not of good quality. We commit many offenses and all during chanting. So, nevertheless, we should chant. I'll tell you the reason why. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that in Ayurvedic Panchakarma treatment, if you see, they give ghee. They'll give 1 bottle of ghee you have to drink every day. So when you put the ghee inside, it will lead to vomiting. You will vomit it, everything. But the doctor will still not leave you for 1 week or 10 days. Every day you have to take this much ghee you have to take. Right? So what he says is, some ghee will go and stick inside. Because the Panchakarma treatment requires that the ghee should go in and it should permeate into the body. After which they will give rich and they will bring out the unwanted things and all. But every day you are taking little will go. Similarly in chanting also, sometimes chanting is so pathetic that after 6 or 8 rounds you cry, Krishna, my chanting is so bad. And by crying like that you attract Krishna. By that attitude itself. Krishna, my chanting is so horrible, I don't know how you tolerate me. One time he was telling His Holiness Hanuman Preksha Swami, he's very humorous, He came to Pune temple. He was telling, see, Prabhus, if you are chanting horribly, very inattentively, dreaming so many things in your mind, and then when you go to Goloka, Krishna will look very ugly, like this. And you will ask Krishna, I heard you are very beautiful. This is why you called me, so I am like this. And then you will ask, oh, I have to keep seeing this ugly form. How long? Eternally you have to live with me. Krishna will say like that, he was saying. So he said, better you chant so sweetly and inoffensively, the Krishna will look very beautiful for you when you go. Of course, he said, I'm joking, don't worry, Krishna is always beautiful. So, because Krishna and his name are not different, knowing this, you chant, try to chant with the proper attitude, he says. In Pune, I always do one japa talk every morning. About 3 minutes I speak. If any of you wish to find out, you can find out in radheshyam.com you go. In that, in the top strip, search strip, you just put japa talks, you put. You will get many, probably 1,000 pieces you will find it. Small, 3 minutes. If you hear that and meditate on the meaning, then the chanting is better. Because just now you heard something about japa, and then when you are chanting, that mood permeates your consciousness. Then you can chant better.
What is the search word you told?
Japa talks. Japa space talks. I think it should come easily, I think. See, this, if you put www, this is the website, radheshyam.com, you go there. Yeah, now here you see the search here. The search.
No, we don't see it.
That's nothing, okay. What happened? And now it's coming now. You can go to the Google and put www.radheshyam.com. And then you click it, it will come like this. The site will come. And here you go, you put japa talks. Correct, no? Japa talks. And then you come out of this. The top one, if you click it, japa talks, click it. See, you get year by you get up to the latest one. I think I started all these things from up to 2020 you will find it. So any year you take, for example, if you click it, for that year it will come like this. It's only 3-4 minutes only it is. You have plenty. Totally maybe 1,000 will be there like this. Yeah. So I have been doing it from till, I think 11 from 10 I have been doing it. 24. Yeah. 2006 I started. Yeah. Okay. You can see this. It will be helpful. You can see it here. Also, there is one more in this you can see. See, if you put capital, if you put GAME. GAME stands for Gita for All Made Easy. Game. You put this game and then you click it. And then here you go here to the right side and click here. So now the first one shows, you see, game. If you click that, immediately you get 72 lessons, 73 lessons you will get. This is 73 the basics of Krishna consciousness for you to learn as well as teach. You take any of the lessons, for example, one I'll show you. You click this, you get a video, you get a PDF and a corresponding PPT. So if you take the PDF in a smartphone, you can take it and you can, after the video you can see here, corresponding to this, you will learn how to teach it. And the PPT we made because PDF, if you turn it into PPT, it's more attractive. With more pictures we have made. So this is also available for you. You can see it. It will say GAME, game. Okay. Of course, before game there is a DYS, Discover Yourself course, which is a 6-session course. You all know, you heard about it, Discover Yourself? Okay, DYS, if you put Discover Yourself, you put, you will get. That also is very nice too. That's actually a 8-session course, after which you can go to game course. So that website, if you go leisurely, when you get time, you will find many things. It's very, you can easily, you can refer. It's good for very basic things are there. Just like what I have shared with you yesterday and today, like that many things are there.
So all your lectures are also in that website?
Yeah.
Actually, in the lectures are also there, and actually in the, I'll just show you where it is. If you go to the YouTube, you just put Radheshyam Das. Put Radheshyam Das. Here you'll get it. This is the channel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. In this, there may be around 2,500 lectures, will be 2,000 lectures will be there, I think. Actually, you can always go to the playlist. If you go to the playlist, then you come to know. See, for new people, now very new people, I'll show you one very nice thing here. There's something called a self-development course. You will find here. It's very good for very new people. Very, very new people, raw people. If you want to introduce, that self-development course is very good. Okay, you can put here, you'll get it. If you put here, self-development. You got it here, you see? There are 10 lectures there. For new people, it's very good. Actually, it has many, if you go through those topics, you will see that, you will see the playlist. You know, say self-management, self-care, self-discipline, all these things are there. So you can visually see. So this is one very good course. Another course is this one. What do you call it? Discover yourself, I told you. Discover yourself. Oh, sorry, you can put it in playlist if you put it. Again, you will get that. Yeah. This is the 1, 2. You see DYS 1, DYS 3. You'll get this. Very nice. This is for basic. Even game also is available here also. The game course I told you. That also will be there. Yeah. Of course, you go to the website, there you get a in more orderly way you will get it there. Huh? So I actually make these things easily available for devotees because earlier I was printing books and everything. I find this is more easy for devotees. And also all the PPTs you can get below in the description you will get. In the video description if you go, it gives the website. If you click it, it will directly take you to this thing. Yeah. I can also send Nilamani Prabhu one easy to click file I have, what do you call it? Because many people don't know to use this thing. I just show you 1 minute. If you see this now, see like this it's made. If you actually, for example, you want to take any series, for example, so you want Vrindavan, Demons and Vrindavan Leela series, website, YouTube lectures, PPTs. If you click here, it will directly go.
It's very nice.
Yeah. So I can give this to Nilamani Prabhu and he can share with you all, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
Here everything is there, see? Self-development course, one-time program, discover yourself, behavioral science for you. So anybody asks me, I give them generally. And Gita Rahasya is 18 chapters in 18 sittings. That is Gita Rahasya. And Krishna Rasayanam is all sections of Bhagavatam in Katha form. Based on Paramahansa Radhagovind Maharaj. He is one of my inspirations. I hear from him and then later on I also 2 hours series I gave. Bhagavad Rasamalayam is the first canto, 19 chapters in 19 sittings. Very colorful PPTs we made, very nice. Gajendra Moksha, that is also very nice. So the Ajamil Katha, like the different things are there. So you all can, and Bhagavataranga is Nectar of Devotion, complete 19 chapters. So you all can see it at your leisure, you can see it. I will leave it with Prabhu. Thank you all very much. Prabhupada ki because you all are serving very wonderfully, God is manifesting in a bigger temple, more facility.
Please come next time.
I really appreciated the approach road to the temple, so nearby it is. From the main road you can quickly approach the temple and Prabhu intelligently has kept a space for the parking also. 150, 200 vehicles can be parked. And very spacious temple, very nice. Probably come next year again, same time.
So let us all indeed pray that next year we can have association with Radheshyam Prabhu in our new temple. Again, we are very, very grateful for Radheshyam Prabhu, who not only shared his time here with us, us, given us so many jewels that we can use all throughout the year and at any time. So much resources are there for us to, for our own purification, for us to give to others, teach to others. So thank you so much, Radheshyam Prabhu, for coming and sharing your precious